Welcome to Red and Blue Smoke. I am your host, Zach Berry. Joining me, as always, Mr. Greg Jones of LB's Meat Market in Oxford. Greg, good morning. I know you are awfully busy as you are preparing for the onslaught of people in Oxford, Mississippi this weekend.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how many LSU fans will actually be here. I mean, can you take a guess on that? Is it like over 25,000, you think?
Ooh, I would have to consult someone that knows more about like ticket allotment than I do, but you obviously run the risk of
I mean, there's a
some.
lot of LSU fans that just come to straight go to the library and, and be on the square,
Well,
which I don't blame them.
yeah, I mean, there's probably going to be, I don't know, what would you say, 10,000 at least,
Yeah.
15 in the stadium, and then you might have some knee jerk reaction Ole Miss fans that are like, screw this, I'm selling my tickets.
Yeah.
Um,
That
so
that wouldn't be shock. That wouldn't be shocking.
it it's going to be a busy weekend because I think LSU. There's a lot of hype around LSU right now. They win a fun game last week against Arkansas. They look much better than they did against Florida State in the opener. And then it's Ole Miss. They're still 3-1. It's time for a bounce back. You know, can you get up off the mat after Alabama, or are you going to let Nick Saban and company beat you twice? So a lot of intrigue this week.
Yeah, a lot of questions on those character issues that they've been building on in the last couple of months. I know Dart's mentioned we would have lost that game last year against Tulane, but we won it this year. So we'll see. We'll see if anything reverts back to last year because after that Alabama game, it went on a real bad run. So definitely going to get some character tests this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we get into that one, let's talk some grub here. We already did a pretty hefty Louisiana food episode with Tulane on the schedule, but I'm always down to talk more food, Greg. I know you are too, but I feel like we didn't touch on it on the earlier episode this year, but oysters. Where do we stand on oysters? I assume that you like uh what is that ODB? Oh baby, I like it raw. Is that ODB?
Yeah,
That was pretty good.
yeah, I like that. I wasn't expecting that. I was like, wait, where's he going with this?
Yeah, I mean,
Man, I love what I
you're
mean. Like, I
I'm
literally
sure you're a
can.
traditionalist, but you like some little pizzazz too, right?
Oh man, charbroiled oysters all day long for me. I mean,
Yeah.
if some garlic and some butter and some good Parmesan cheese and good nice roast on the fire, man, you can't beat that. I wish that I could eat like 3 dozen, but I think when we were in Maryland for the Preakness this year, they have a think it's
Ooh.
like dollar oyster night on Monday or something like that. So we
Woohoo.
stood around. I mean, I was there for the Preakness on Saturday and Sunday, and then the sale was on Monday, Tuesday, and so they always go to this place for dollar oysters. And I'm pretty sure I started out with 2 dozen, and then they turned into oyster shots.
Ooh.
So they could.
Okay.
Have you ever had an oyster shot?
I have not, but this intrigues me.
Well, it's just basically a Bloody Mary with an oyster in it. Preferably more heavier on the vodka than Bloody Mary mix, and
Okay.
you
Okay.
and they got little like kind of tall, skinny shot glasses,
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of like
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
They just I mean, it's really easy for them just to take it out of the shell and then put it in the bottom of the oyster. But Tito's Bloody Mary mix and lemon and lime, some Old Bay and some
Old
Worcestershire
Bay. They put that shit
and
on everything.
oh yeah, I mean Maryland is famous for crab cakes and football, right?
Yeah.
But
Correct.
no, but yeah, no, all day long. Get you some get 6 glasses, get 6 oysters, put them in the oyster, and then do Tito's or whatever vodka you prefer, and then Bloody Mary mix, Worcestershire, lemon and lime, and Old Bay, and some hot sauce, and man, you're good to go. That's a really good shot.
I If I have my pick, I'm gonna go raw, and then a little hot sauce. I'm not big on the horseradish.
Do you set your plate up? Do you set them up like go ahead and like do all of them with the ketchup and I mean the cocktail and horseradish, and then open all your
No,
crackers. See,
I'll
that's
just
how I roll.
okay. So so I'll just take
I
them out
literally
of
like
the
take all my crackers out, and I've got like a dozen crackers. I put like cocktail all over each one, and literally it takes me like I
I'll,
don't know, about 2 or 3 minutes to get that set up,
okay.
and 2 minutes to eat for sure.
So I do have a buddy. Now this is a different shellfish item here, but we're in the seafood family. A dear friend of mine. We'll give him his flowers. My buddy Cody Melly. He's a state grad, but when we go to the beach, we typically go with our all of our we're all older now, kids, and everybody goes and we go out to eat. My wife loves crab legs and Cody loves crab legs. They have completely different styles of eating crab legs. So my wife will do it traditionally, like some would say a normal person. My buddy Cody will crack all of them, pull all the meat out, and put it on a plate. This is probably taking 5 to 7 minutes. And then he will get the butter and we'll dump it all over the crab meat. And then we'll just eat it with a fork. I've never seen anybody do that. But to each their own. Like what you like. Yeah, I typically just grab it out of the tray. Hot sauce, boom, shuck it. I might throw a cracker in there, but man, I don't know if you got good raw oysters. You don't need much. I mean, I just like the heat of the hot sauce, but yeah, never been a horseradish guy. I grew up like my dad was a big Taco Bell and Arby's guy, and he would like Arby's sauce is legit. So it's one of the best sauces in the game, but I never messed with the horsey sauce. Just tried it once and I was like, nope, no. Can't do it.
It was kind of funny back in the day. Sal and Phil's, there was they had a seafood buffet in Ridgeland, and my grandmother would go, and the only thing she would eat is the shucked oysters. So they had like fried fish, shrimp, fried oysters. They had all this stuff, and then they would just bring out a tray of 24 oysters, and you would go and pick up. Well, what my grandmother used to do is she would just go whenever she would wait for the guy to bring out the oysters, and she would pick up the whole tray and take it back to her table. That's the only thing she ate. I'm like, Granny, you can't be doing that. Like, and she's like, well, what? It's the only thing I want to eat on the buffet, and it is a buffet. And I'm like,
that's true.
Never mind. You got to watch those hard-headed Italians. Those hard-headed Italians usually are right. So 9 times out of 10. But no, I'm a big oyster guy. But that man, charbroiled with some butter and garlic and some good cheese, man, you can't beat that.
Another staple. I guess we're primarily focusing, I mean, it's all across Louisiana, but Baton Rouge has some good spots for oysters. I do appreciate what they do at Chimes Restaurant and Tap Room. I'm a big fan. But let's move on to crawfish. I like Sammy's in Baton Rouge. Okay, so what was your earliest experience with crawfish? Because I remember in college when we'd have like spring parties, where everybody does the crawfish, and people were like, I had like older people trying to, when I first went, and they're like explaining to me how to do it, and I was like, I've done this before. I know what I'm doing. But yeah, what was your earliest crawfish
man
experience?
I mean, I can just remember back in like you were saying in college, just eating like 4 or 5, and they were super hot, and the next thing you know, you drank like 3 beers, and you're like, oh man, I don't know if I can do this or not. So no, but I'm a seasoned vet when it comes to the crawfish now. I've got some tricks of the trade. There's some, you can put some extra. I like the veggies. What I used to do with the leftover crawfish, I would turn it into a casserole. So I would take the potatoes, the corn off the cob, go ahead and peel the crawfish tails, and just add, I like putting white onion in crawfish. I mean, just the texture is real soft. So literally just turn it into a little casserole. You just chop up your potatoes, and then you put your sausage on top of it, and then put your corn on top of it, and then do some heavy whipping cream over that and some cheese, and then put your leftover crawfish tails on top of the cheese and just bake it in the oven. And you got basically kind of a crawfish pie or a crawfish casserole. But yeah, that's my go-to. I'm a big fan of that, and I'm a big fan of comeback sauce. I like
Yeah.
I like to have like a nice little setup of comeback sauce to where, I have my nice pile. I have like maybe two corns and two potatoes and maybe 2 pounds. And I just make sure I have my little yum sauce to where but
Yeah.
I don't know. Are you a head sucker? Do you suck the head on every
So
single one of them?
no,
They
so
have to
I'll
be cooked properly. They have to be cooked properly for
so
me to even
that's
remotely to suck the head.
so that's the dice roll. I typically will give it a go on the first one. But again, like it's crawfish, so there's, you know, 5,000 of them. Are they
Yeah, and
all cooked
they
properly?
live in mud. They live in mud.
Yeah,
So I mean,
yeah.
that's
I
something
typically
you're literally like, hey, do I want to suck up a bunch of mud from Louisiana? That sounds awesome.
yeah, so I typically don't just because of that. And I do think like I'm getting enough juice from the meat itself. And I'm with you. Like I like the accoutrement. Like I love grabbing a potato and biting it like an apple. And especially if you got some sausage in there, like some good
Oh yes,
sausage.
man, do it. Yeah.
Yeah, like I eat everything. Like I know a lot of people would go to parties and they wouldn't mess
Well,
with
I'm
that.
just
They
a
would
bit.
just
You
do
got to
crawfish.
purge. That's the thing with crawfish. You have to purge your crawfish. Like literally, like just do it for like if you don't. I know it's like you're in a hurry to cook them, but take an hour or take 45 minutes. Put them in a cooler. Take them out of the sack and just let water run through them. Throw a little salt in there, to where they, kind of throw up and that sort of thing. But just make sure your crawfish is clean. That's just what drives me crazy. Is like
Oh
you're
yeah.
literally eating a product that lives in the mud. So you just make sure you clean your crawfish and you're good to go. I don't think you'll have any complaints on a crawfish bowl if you do that.
Yeah, because you can really screw up a batch by not
Yeah,
cleaning.
you can
Because
just
like
literally
cleaning
put
is
too
the
much
big thing.
cayenne. Like I think I put too
Yeah.
much cayenne. Like no, dude, you just read the like just get the mix. There's literally a bag that all you got to do open the bag, dump it in the hot water, and then put your crawfish. It's just and it will do like 3 or 4 batches for you.
Yeah. Yeah, and I remember
And
doing it
another
at
thing I like about Louisiana that it's not kind of honorable mention is I had my first soft shell crab po' boy, and in Homa, Louisiana. It was probably the best thing I ever had. Like it was
oh,
lettuce, tomato, mayonnaise,
okay.
little hot sauce. I mean, it was. I don't know, for some strange reason I really like a soft shell crab po' boy if it's done right.
That's kind of like the pretty much anything with seafood. Well, I guess that's true with any kind of food, but those things are very, very
Yeah, the
sensitive
batter is the
to
key,
the
man.
levels.
Batter is the key. Batter is the key. Like you've got, I mean, like not to talk bad about walk-ons, but their batter on their fried shrimp, nope. Just that's super mid for me.
As the kids would say. Um, so one thing that I want to get your take on, like the Cajun versus Creole, like they're not technically like specific ingredients, like, and a lot of times it's not like an entire dish, but like just completely contrasting styles of cooking. Um, much like, Italian versus whatever. It's just different, like completely different
Yeah,
styles.
it's the same genre, but just two different angles.
Yeah, so both are found, obviously in Louisiana, Baton Rouge. Um, like two different
Tomatoes are really the key. Tomatoes are really the key uh, for Creole versus Cajun.
yeah, because we talked about that in the Tulane episode with like gumbo,
Yeah.
like whether you do tomatoes or not.
I mean,
Um,
tomatoes and okra. I mean, those
yeah,
are those are key Creole things, and like the bay leaves. I don't
yeah,
a lot of Cajun food doesn't have bay leaves. That's more Creole. So
and like
yeah, it's just little things like that that make it very unique. It's
and
almost like
like
running the triple option or versus the run and gun.
well, Cajun, I know they call it like the Holy Trinity with celery, onions, and bell peppers. Um, and then like Creole's got some like Spanish, African, French, Caribbean, um, kind of thrown in there. Like I've heard people say Creole is traditionally like city folk eat Creole, and Cajuns more like country, like rural food.
Yeah, and where you step on the land and water comes up, like that
Yeah.
that sort of food.
So, like, do you have any dishes on either side that you particularly like Cajun versus Creole
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big red beans guy. I love red beans. I mean,
on them beans?
yeah, I got to stay on those beans. And then it depends on the crawfish etouffee, but sometimes the gumbo is very unique. Sometimes they don't have the tomato and oyster and okra in it, so it's more of a root style. There's man, I'll eat it all. I'll eat everything, but what's the place where you cross the bridge? Right there on the left. That thin
Oh,
catfish. I'm not a fan of that thin catfish. Is it? What is
yeah.
that place? Anyway,
I know what you're talking about, but I can
yeah.
picture it, but I don't remember what it's called.
There's literally like two of the same thing right next to each other, and I think they're family members. Kind of funny, but no. Anything but thin catfish, I'll eat in Louisiana.
I'm a big, um, like we already talked about, like shrimp Creole. That's one of my favorites. My grandmother used to make it all the time, and I thought it was the best thing ever. But I also big fan like if you do like a Cajun redfish, like
Oh yeah,
good redfish with like grits or like just on a plate of like dirty rice or something. I love that. And then I mean a really good crawfish etouffee is hard to beat, right?
yeah. I got a good customer, Leo Carmen. He always sends me pictures of his red snapper that he's like snapper de la Oxford, and it has a really awesome crawfish, cream sauce on it. I'm a big sauce guy. And man, I like those, like you were saying, like redfish, on where is it? What's it called whenever it's scale side up? On
Oh,
Anyway,
what are they?
golly, I'm failing today. I got so much
I
sausage on my head.
what are they? To scale.
Anyway, I
Go
literally
ahead,
like
I'll find it.
I like leaving it on the scales and then get you like a really good butter cream sauce or crawfish sauce or my favorite thing honestly that I wish I had since I'm not if I wasn't on this diet is fried catfish with etouffee on top
Ooh,
with
okay.
crawfish etouffee on it. That's
You could
that's
probably put etouffee on anything.
for
And it's good.
sure. I think supposedly there's a restaurant in Memphis called they do that with fried catfish and etouffee on it. It's called the Arkansas Outlaw or something like that. I
Mm,
think it's a restaurant in
okay.
Memphis, but yeah, I'm a big fried catfish and etouffee guy.
Is the thing you were talking about, is it, well, no, maybe not. I was gonna say, is it fish a la tala? But I don't think that's right.
No, it's on the half shell. That's what it's called.
Ah, okay, okay,
Red
gotcha.
fish on the half shell.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, golly, that's it took me an hour and a half to figure that out. That's brutal. But no, I'm a big fan of that. Any sort of Gulf fish with some sauce on it.
Yeah, I mean, if you like you mentioned like the butter, like that's the thing. Pasta too. Like the simplicity of the sauce is almost better, where it's just like three or four ingredients. Like I do that a lot with like my kids love pasta. Like any kind of spaghetti, any kind of noodles, they love it. Um, so if I get in a bind for dinner and I don't have any red sauce, and we don't have any like tomatoes to make red sauce, which is time consuming, so that's key with kids where they don't understand patience. So you gotta be swift with the prep. Um, I mean, I can make a good garlic butter cream sauce in like 5 minutes. Because I mean, you're
Yeah,
basically it's
that's
almost
easy.
like
That's
making
easy.
a yeah, like making like a quick like roux almost, where it's just milk, flour, butter. If you got fresh garlic, great. If not, garlic powder, whatever, and then just stir, and like you're done.
Yeah, I went to Kentucky last week and I sent a little care package to one of my friends, Jake, and I sent him some chicken spinach feta sausage, and he took a picture of it. And he goes, "What do I do with this?" And I'm like, "Man, you actually can take it out of the casing and make a chicken spinach feta burger. Make it into a
Yeah.
patty, or what you can do is make a pasta with it. Take it out of the casing, saute it, and make like a spinach, Alfredo. Add some fresh spinach and maybe a couple chicken breasts. Just saute that chicken spinach feta and make a sauce with it." He's like, "I think I'm going to do the pasta," and he said it turned out really good.
Man, spinach is something that can really elevate a sauce or elevate a pasta. It's so simple, but like when you just toss it in and then just stir it, and you got to do it when the pasta's hot, so it kind of wilts it, and it just I don't know.
Big thing. My Brussels sprouts. I love my Brussels sprouts really soft. I've been on this spinach and Brussels sprouts and cabbage kick lately. I don't know if they're good for me or not, but I've been crushing
sure. I love a good charred Brussels. Like that's kind of my go-to. Like if we're doing like a Friendsgiving, or like if I'm in charge of cooking a dish or something, I love doing some good, baked, like a charred Brussels dish.
So what you can do is take one of those Brussels sprout bags and put it in the microwave where they're soft, and then put them on a pan, and then grate some Parmesan cheese and like some Sailor Jerry or that Hoover sauce if you're wanting, to do whatever kind of flavor you want to go with. And then just bake it and broil them, and then kind of brown that cheese and brown that Brussels sprout, and just literally serve it on the plate.
I typically will get like a casserole dish, and I will layer the bottom with some balsamic vinaigrette, and then I'll cut all the Brussels in half. Sometimes I'll quarter them depending on the size, and then I'll do just salt, pepper, red pepper flakes, and then I go with feta, and then a little more balsamic on there, and then I'll do some bacon, and then man, it's just like the simplest, easiest thing.
Better. Yeah, because bacon makes everything better.
100%. All right. Speaking of making things better, Ole Miss will try to do that this weekend against LSU. After the break, we will get into that game and give you our preview and our predictions. So hang tight. We'll be right back. Cooler temperatures are right around the corner, and as I like to say, it's the perfect time to play a round of golf. And if you're looking for a premier golf course in Northwest Mississippi or the Memphis, Tennessee area, go to Cherokee Valley Golf Club in Olive Branch, 15 minutes from the Memphis International Airport. With those cooler temps, you might want to stay warm and comfortable on the course this fall. Go in the clubhouse and check out their new selection of outerwear from Travis Matthew and FootJoy, including FootJoy's new lightweight hoodie. This 18-hole par 72 course includes 4 sets of tees to accommodate all players, and has 11 lakes, 52 bunkers, and the wide Zoysia fairways and extra-large champion Bermuda greens and clean roughs make for an excellent opportunity every single time to post a number. If you need a premier golf experience in the Mid-South, go to Cherokee Valley Golf Club. Call them at 662-893-4444 or check them out, olivebranchgolf.com.
Ole Miss football is happening. The Chris Beard era right around the corner. A retooled Ole Miss baseball, not long removed from its 2022 national championship, the first ever for the program, is ready for a rebound in 2024. Have you gotten your tickets? There are plenty available for all sports. Single game tickets for football available now, as are season tickets for basketball. And baseball season tickets go on sale starting in October. And you can also get tickets right now for the throwback game in the Tad Pad. They're still available, including VIP packages. But they're going fast, and you don't want to miss out. Don't miss any of your Rebels in action this season. Visit www.olemistix.com. That's www.olemistix.com. Or you can give them a call at 662-915-7159. That's 662-915-7159 for the Ole Miss Athletic Foundation, a proud sponsor of the flagship and the Talk of Champions podcast network.
The College Corner is headed to Oxford. Stop by their new location in the Oxford Commons off Sisk Avenue. They'll have 4,000 square feet of Rebel gear ready for your trip to the Grove. On your next trip to Oxford, stop by the College Corner or our other great locations in Ridgeland and Flowood. Hats, shirts, polos, pullovers, sweats, t-shirts. College Corner has it all. And as always, you can visit us online at collegecornerstore.com. That's collegecornerstore.com. The College Corner, where your game day apparel meets.
Are you looking at cutting your health insurance premiums by as much as 20 to 30%? Are you aging into Medicare and need help finding a Medicare supplement plan? Call Drew Moak of USA Benefits Group at 601-953-8449. Drew is an Ole Miss grad located in Mississippi and licensed in 7 states. He works with the nation's second largest health insurance brokerage with access to 35 different carriers, and he can help you with any of your health insurance needs. From regular health plans to life insurance to dental and vision and even Medicare, he has it all covered. Now more than ever, it is critical to have a health insurance agent who is local and accessible. So call Drew Moak at 601-953-8449 and get your free quote today. And we are back here on Red and Blue Smoke we were just talking food, and now we're going to get into Ole Miss and LSU. Before we get into that, I do want to remind you, this show is brought to you by the good folks at USA Benefits Group, and specifically our dear friend Drew Moak. If you are looking to cut your health insurance premiums by 20 to 30%, give him a call, 601-953-8449. He's an Ole Miss grad located in Mississippi, and he's licensed in 7 states. He works with the nation's second largest health insurance brokerage. He's got access to 35 different carriers, and he can help you with any and all of your health insurance needs. Anything from dental, vision, Medicare, regular health plans, life insurance, all of that and more. It is critical to not only have a health insurance agent who is accessible, but one that is local, and he can help you out today. Give him a call and get a free quote today, or visit usabg.com/DMOAK. All right. Ole Miss LSU, 5:00 on Saturday. The time is ideal for Ole Miss here. I think if this was an 11:00 kick or even a 3:00 kick, it would not be as ideal for Ole Miss here. But that night kickoff will let people get nice and lubed up in the Grove. People will get fired up. You get that opportunity there to not only get lubed up, Greg, but you're also giving yourself plenty of time to talk yourself into Ole Miss winning this game. And I don't say that as if it's a long shot. Ole Miss could absolutely win this game. But last week was pretty disheartening, pretty frustrating. I thought Ole Miss had
I think the most thing that was so disheartening about last week was, like, I think 90% of the Ole Miss fans that watched the game was like, we should have won that game. And you never say that leaving. I don't think I couldn't tell you last time I thought about leaving Tuscaloosa and saying, you know what, I think we should have won that game.
Hell, I think a reasonable Alabama fan would tell you that. I mean, for 3 quarters, maybe 3.5, it was a ball game. And that first half especially, I went back and watched the replay. Ole Miss had plenty of chances to pour it on, and I thought Alabama's body language early was pretty bad. They didn't look like they were into it. They weren't really playing. They weren't playing well. They weren't clicking on all cylinders offensively, and Ole Miss just couldn't get it done. The offense was bad. It was sporadic. The offensive line was just played one of their worst games, and then you just couldn't capitalize. I mean, I thought the defense was outstanding. The defense was great. They gave the offense more than plenty of opportunities to win that game. But looking ahead to Saturday, 3-1 LSU, 3-1 Ole Miss. Look, everything's still out in front of Ole Miss here. Just win your games in the West and see what happens. See how things shake out. It's funny. I was talking with David Brent yesterday on our podcast, and the ESPN analytics matchup predictor favors Ole Miss right now, almost 57% to 44%. So it's like 56.5 to 43.5 in favor of the Rebels here. LSU only given 2.5 here. I did hear a couple national shows where guys, in particular Phil Steele, was just kind of like, hey, I'd probably stay away from this game because this one can kind of go either way, right? What do you think?
Yeah, it really can. I mean, obviously, Ole Miss is going to, get some character test this weekend. They need to come out in the first quarter and establish the run, establish anything. No more jet sweeps. I mean, that's not going to work. I mean, the defense on, you're facing SEC defenses. Those linebackers can easily, make that tackle, behind the line of scrimmage. I just think that I really wish we would just get to basics and see what we got. I mean, like obviously with Trigg leaving, I really wished it was, you could have put Trigg and Pegues, on the right side and just try to do that Tebow package with Sanders because Dart. There's no way Dart can survive this whole season. He took a couple pretty nasty hits, but with that being said, he's a gamer and he's definitely going to bring his game to the table, but. You have to see some improvement on the offensive line, if they're going to do anything moving forward. And, I think I saw a tweet on the Twitter or the X or whatever the hell it's called, but saying, interviewing Judkins, and they were like, have you looked at Alabama's, defense? I mean, LSU's defense. And he's like, yeah, I mean, they're a little bit bigger up front, if they had trouble with Alabama's defense, what are they going to do this week? So I hope they're pumped up because this is a big game because everybody knows what happened last year when they lost to Alabama, but
yeah,
you can't do that this year because you have LSU coming up, a very improved Arkansas team, and we've struggled with Arkansas, and and you've got Auburn at home, and we've really hadn't had a good record against Auburn away. So, yes, you have an open week sandwiched in there, but you got to test yourself and you got to see what you got this week because LSU's coming to town and they're not wanting to win this game by a field goal or a touchdown. They're so I just hope I hope Ole Miss is ready because it just. They had a big opportunity last week, and I felt like they just dropped it. That missing the field goal and stuff like that. Whenever you got that interception in the end zone, you're like, hey, maybe this is our, year that we can win. Whenever Lane Kiffin, after the start of the fourth quarter, they interviewed him, he goes, well, they're about to run the ball. Well, I mean, that's what they did, and when you can't stop it and that it's coming, you just got to take your hat off to the defense because they played. I mean, if you hold Alabama to 14, 17 points, starting the third to fourth quarter, I mean, your offense should, win that game. But they didn't get it done. Some questionable play calls down in the fourth quarter. I don't know why we were milking the clock or trying to establish the run down by 10. All I know is Charlie Weiss Jr. His Swedish fans just got delivered, so his house should be complete hopefully in the next couple of days, so he can be comfortable at his new house. But I don't know, man. I question a lot of character issues going on. You got Trigg leaving. I don't know what's going on with that, but you would hope that Trigg would be a good player and say, hey, look, what can I do to help the team? And instead, they walk away. So it's just tough, man. It's a tough game right now with NIL and everything. So just hopefully the Rebs show up this week because LSU is definitely going to come to put one on them.
The big thing for me, obviously, is the injuries. And it's not an excuse. 3 of their top players that they got out of the portal for this offense were banged up. Zachary Franklin, Caden Prieskorn played for the first time last week, and Trey Harris, who was battling an injury coming out of the Tulane game. Kiffin said he did have a, kind of a quick cleanup surgery. He was basically limited to red zone opportunities. They only threw to him, I think, twice. You have to hope that those guys can be ready to go in this one because, and look, this is not belittling or, all due respect to Jordan Watkins and Dayton Wade because they've been great. They are pretty much the only dudes on offense that have made plays so far. They got to have help because the schedule is only going to get tougher. And if you are going to beat press man coverage in the SEC West, you need bigger guys like Zachary Franklin and Trey Harris, and you need a tight end that can open up the middle of the field. They threw to him on that first drive. He had a big catch and run.
Where did that go? I just don't understand.
No idea.
Where did it go? And that's what I feel like that offense had been missing that, kind of that safety valve because, Judkins has got to stay in and block. I mean, they're bringing a linebacker every single time whenever Dart is in the shotgun. So, like I said, that first drive, whenever that little tight end dump, I was like, man, where has this been all years? So yeah. I don't know, man. And you try not to question, anybody, because that's what they do is, draw up plays and coach players up. But there's a couple head scratching play calls for me.
I just think they got to get more creative and just kind of roll the dice a little bit, and not even rolling the dice, just like do some things to help out what you're struggling with. Like it's not difficult. Like I'm not a genius, but if you need to slow down a pass rush, run a screen. If you need to help out your offensive line that are struggling, get the ball out quick. Get some intermediate stuff going.
Sanders and try to do that Tebow package and try to lean on them and just literally say, hey, look, guys, we're going to go man on man, and we're just going to see where this defense lies, because surely our offensive line can at least find the person in front of them and push them back at least 2 or 3 yards to where we have, Judkins just, he's got plenty of talent. He's got plenty of cut ability and everything. It's just, you got to give him some kind of, something to work with. But the zone blocking that drives me crazy.
All right, so this one 2.5. I hate to do.
Yeah,
this,
I'll say it for you. I love LSU. I think that
well, it's only 2.5.
It just like when you go back and look at the national championship of the baseball team, that team was in a hole and everybody was trying to figure out like what was going on. But there was a lot of characters on that team. You had Tim Elko, you had Bench and everything, and they literally like, hey, look, let's come together and let's play better ball than we played. And look what happens. I just don't see anything on this football team that screams that. Jackson Dart plays really hard, but who's the guy that's going to step up and be like, hey, guys, like, we're a better team than this, like we should have won Alabama, we should have won last week, let's go out and play, I don't see any rah-rah in the team. I know that's kind of terrible to say, but it's really no rah-rah in the team.
Yeah, this is a potential for, a circle-the-wagons type game for Ole Miss, where it's at home. You're going to have I expect a big crowd. I expect a raucous environment. It's LSU. It's a rivalry game. Regardless of what happened last week, you move on and you got a night game at Vaught Hemingway. I expect it to be a fun environment. I actually think Ole Miss will cover the 2.5. I don't know if they'll be able to win. Maybe this will be something a la, what was it, 2013, where they have a late field goal to win. I think Ole Miss is going to be in this game. I really don't expect them to just lie down and get whipped here. I haven't looked it up, but I feel like Ole Miss typically plays well at home under Lane Kiffin, and it's a night game. I expect it to be loud, and I expect them to challenge LSU because as good as the LSU offense can be at times, I expect Brian Kelly to try to do a similar thing that Alabama did, where they're going to try to really grind out drives, play keep away, and try to wear down this Ole Miss defense. And then they're just going to play man and come after Jackson Dart. I think it's pretty simple. I think Ole Miss could make things interesting and cover, but LSU's good. The one thing I will say, Greg, that gives me pause is I think Malik Neighbors is really good. Outside of that, they don't have a ton of skill guys like they normally do that scare you, right? It's not they got Jarvis Landry, they got Odell Beckham, they got Justin Jefferson. It's not like a group like that this year. And maybe it won't matter, but that's one thing that I keep going back to is they don't have those super studs like they normally do.
Yeah, well, you're right on that. But they also, I mean, you also look at last week, and Milrose is not the best quarterback, in the SEC, and
Yeah.
Jordan Daniels is a lot better than him. So, just defense is going to have their handful, and it's and
Yeah.
it's tough coming back after playing Alabama, and but it's a big step up game, and this is a big character game, and you'll see what team. But you gotta that first quarter you literally need to because if LSU wins, they're going to kick the ball to Kiffin. So you got to take the ball and take care of business and get 7 points on the first drive and go from there. But you can't have a 3 and out on the first drive because you can easily be down 7-0 because like I said, Daniels is a lot better quarterback than Milrose. So that's where I'll just see where the trouble might come for Ole Miss.
All right, final break. When we come back, we'll do a whip around the SEC. Let Greg give his thoughts and his picks against the spread for the SEC. Fun slate here in week 5. So hang tight. We'll be right back. This podcast also comes to you thanks to Bluff City Advisory Group, Memphis's leading team of finance professionals who can provide advanced assistance with financial planning, pension, and qualified plan support, and business and estate planning strategies as well. Former Ole Miss Rebel and founding partner Ben Still, along with his elite-level customer service team, make it their goal to help you meet the ongoing demands of your financial needs. Learn about this and more at bluffcityadvisory.com.
We've all been there before. A weekend trip to the casino canceled because real life came calling. Well, MyBookie's new and improved online casino is here to change the game. Dive into a truly realistic casino experience featuring the latest in slots, progressive jackpots, and live dealer action, all from the comfort of your own home. Take advantage of weekly blackjack tournaments and a brand new collection of high-end games for a chance at real cash rewards. The MyBookie Casino provides a Las Vegas experience when the action's in your hands. And the best part is you don't even need to wear pants. Your adventure at the MyBookie Casino begins today with a generous sign-up bonus using promo code TOC for Talk of Champions, TOC. That's promo code TOC to secure yourself a sweet deposit bonus. And that's not all, because their revamped loyalty program ensures that you'll be showered with rewards, including free spins, cashback offers, and a host of exclusive VIP perks. The more you play, the more you win. Play anytime, anywhere with the MyBookie Casino. And make sure to check out MyBookie for all your gaming needs at www.mybookie.ag. That's www.mybookie.ag.
All right, Greg, let's get things going. Starts early. It's going to get fun really quick right after game day, 11 a.m. ESPN. The now ranked Florida Gators travel to Lexington to take on Kentucky, who is 4-0, mind you. Kentucky giving 1 to Florida here. What's your take on this one?
I like Kentucky. I mean, it might be a homer play for me because I just came back from Louisville and Lexington, and it's beautiful up there. But I don't know, man. Whenever didn't they have a long streak where they hadn't beaten Florida in a hot minute, and they beat them last year? Or
I think it was in the 20s.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, maybe Kentucky is sleepy good this year. And, obviously Florida had that big win against Tennessee, but I don't know, man. For some strange reason, I like Kentucky at home.
I'm going to go on the other side here. And as much as I talked about how I don't think Florida's very good now, and I still don't think they are. But at the line of scrimmage, I think they're going to be better than Kentucky. Their defense has quietly been really good. They just got to figure out the offense, and Graham Mertz has got to stop turning the ball over. But I kind of like Florida in a close one here, and I only need 1, so I'm pretty much taking them to win outright. Now if this was a night game, I would look a little different because K. Roger Field can get kind of rowdy, but it is an 11 a.m. snoozer. Sometimes the road team can come in, and if they're prepared, they can hit you in the mouth early, and then the home team, the crowd gets a little subdued, and then you got to respond. For some reason, I feel like Florida's defense is going to show up and make it tough. All right, moving on, staying at 11 a.m. This one just got a lot more interesting, Greg. 11 a.m. SEC Network, A&M, Arkansas in Jerry World in Texas. Connor Wegman out for the year with that leg injury. So it is now Max Johnson's offense. The Aggies are 3-1. It took them a minute, but they handily beat Auburn last week. The Bobby Petrino experiment has worked so far. They're putting up 450 yards a game, over 300 passing. They're still running the ball well with Amari Daniels, but Arkansas losing back-to-back. They lost to BYU, and then they lose on the road against LSU. A&M -6.5 here. I have a good idea of what I'm doing. What are you doing on this one?
I like Arkansas. I mean, I just feel like this is a field goal game. I mean, KJ Jefferson played great last week, and watching that LSU Arkansas game, it was whoever had the ball last was going to win that game. So, with that being said, I just think this is going to be a closer game. I'd much rather have the points. I think this is going to be less than a touchdown game. So, I'm going to do Arkansas.
I think this one's going to be close, but only 6.5 here. I'm going to take A&M. I think that offense is playing really well. And look, Max Johnson's now the quarterback as the backup with Wegman out. But Max Johnson came in and played well once Wegman went down against Auburn. Now, Auburn as a whole is not great, but defensively they're pretty solid. So I was impressed with him. This is kind of a edge of the cliff type game for Arkansas. Are you going to jump or are you going to step back and figure things out? Because they still don't have Rocket Sanders, so they're struggling to run the ball. And that's what Sam Pittman loves to do. And I feel like KJ Jefferson's just kind of doing everything on his own right now. I do like the true freshman tight end Luke Haas. He had a big game against LSU, but man, what a brutal stretch for Arkansas. They basically 3 straight, quote, rivalry games. The LSU, for the boot is a rivalry game. They have this rivalry now, kind of the old, like an old Southwest Conference against A&M with this rivalry game in a neutral site at AT&T Stadium. And then, I mean, it's pretty safe to say that Ole Miss and Arkansas is a rivalry game now with how silly these games have gotten over the years, and just it's always fun. But that's 3 straight weeks for Arkansas where they're just getting punched left and right. I feel like A&M gets them here.
Yeah, it should be a good game. I just,
it
who knows?
Typically is.
I mean, sometimes it always comes down to a field goal, but who knows, man? It's the SEC. There's really no person that is like made themselves other than Georgia that is like, all right, they're really good.
Field goal game. You think A&M probably thinks that they should have kept Caden Davis there, right?
Well, they probably were laughing whenever he missed that 35-yarder last week. So it is what it is. It's a love-hate thing in this transfer portal. It's just like some fans are glad they're gone, and some fans are sad that they leave, and it's kind of a weird game now.
You mentioned love-hate. There is no love in this one. Georgia at Auburn, clean old-fashioned hate. This is the South's oldest rivalry. Sorry. Clean old-fashioned hate is Georgia Tech. My apologies to the Auburn and Georgia folk. I'll make it quick before you go. I'm laying the points here. I don't think Auburn's very good. And I think this is a game. This is a game where Kirby's going to get people ready to go, and they'll put it. No more playing with their food. They're going to put it on them.
Yeah, and who knows? We haven't seen the best that Georgia has. So, but no, I think Georgia rolls in this, and this is a typical sucker game. But I wouldn't be surprised if Georgia just rolls these guys up.
Not as big a number as I anticipated here, as the undefeated Missouri Tigers travel to Nashville. 13.5 is all Vandy is getting. I'm laying the points. I think Vandy's bad, and I think Missouri will take care of business.
Yeah, I bet against Missouri last week, and they kind of struggled there for a little bit, but they got it done. But Vandy's bad. They always will be bad. I don't know what would help Vanderbilt when it comes to football. I really don't. I don't know if they can like tear down the stadium, put a bunch of money. I don't.
Well, they tried tearing part of it down.
Yeah, well, I just don't understand, how bad a football team and a program can be. But I'm definitely going to take Missouri here.
This one I think has the makings of being fun, but I could see it getting out of hand, and I think it could get out of hand just one way here. Tennessee hosts South Carolina. I think this one's been circled since last year when South Carolina put it on them and put up 60. And I think South Carolina, if they could just get out of their own way offensively and just let Spencer Rattler do his thing, they would be much more efficient. For some reason, Dow Loggins just refuses to do that. I don't particularly think Tennessee's that good, but I think night game in Neyland, this is kind of a rivalry game now with how they've kind of gone back and forth. They don't care for each other. Fan bases don't like each other. 11.5 is the line I'm seeing. I kind of feel like this will be close for a half, 3/4, and then Tennessee runs away with it.
Yeah, it should be a good game, like you're saying, for 3/4. But Tennessee offense probably too much for South Carolina. So I don't know, man. No, I'll roll with Tennessee.
The nightcap in the SEC, 8:00 ESPN. Alabama travels to Starkville to take on Mississippi State. Look, I don't know if Will Rogers listened to the Talk of Champions network last week, but we were talking about how he needs to take over play calling and just slinging around the yard. He did that last week against South Carolina. They gave the Gamecocks all they could handle. And I mean, the guy looked like his old self in the air raid. He was 30 for 48 for 487 and a touchdown. Somehow the QBR was still really bad. He did have the one pick, but this one, though, it's 14.5 Alabama. They always play well for the most part in Starkville. I think they handle business. I just don't see State having that offensive game that they did last week. It was like a big emotional exertion of energy against South Carolina. They didn't win. Long road trip, but you get back at home at night. I think this will kind of be a similar vibe to most Bama Mississippi State games where it's kind of close early. The cowbells will be loud, but I expect Alabama to just kind of lean on them and quietly put them away.
Yeah, I don't see them having any problem.
You laying the points?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you.
I even think the first half line is probably real locked.
Ooh. Okay, yeah. I still don't think this Alabama team is your granddad's Alabama, but I do think they're talented enough to win games like this on the road where they're just going to out-athlete some people at positions, and I do think they'll be able to get after Will Rogers because, look, Ole Miss has offensive line issues, but so does Mississippi State. So that front seven for Bama is going to be active in this one. So, all right, that is going to do it for this edition of Red and Blue Smoke. Shout out Greg for joining us once again. I know he's a busy man as he is preparing for all of the LSU fans and the Ole Miss fans to get into town this weekend for Ole Miss-LSU, 5:00 ESPN. And when you get into town, be sure, 2008 University Avenue, go see Greg and the folks. Get your steaks, get your burgers, get your chicken, get your sausage, anything and everything you can think of. He's probably got it there. Have it ready to throw on the grill before or after the game and have yourself a weekend. So, Greg, if you don't have anything else, we can get out of here.
Yeah, I don't, man. I'm just, like I said, about to make, I think I'm right at 260 pounds of sausage. So I'm about to start linking up some sausage and getting it ready. I made some Swayze sausage, some Blue Dream sausage, some spicy Hawaiian. So yeah, just getting ready for the weekend, man. Just tell them don't burn the town down. They can come as long as they don't burn the town down.
All right. Well, go see Greg and everybody at LB's and make sure to tune in to the rest of the podcast episodes this week on the Talk of Champions podcast network. Anywhere you get your podcasts, subscribe, leave a review, all that good stuff. And also be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel at OM Spirit. And of course, omspirit.com, an affiliate of On3, we will have all of the prep work done for you for this weekend's big SEC West matchup. So for Greg over there, I'm Zach. This has been Red and Blue Smoke. Until next week, we out.